Hello everybody. Today we're going to talk about multiplying integers. So with multiplying integers, and here's the title, you can see that. Really, it comes down to your basic multiplication facts and your sign rules. So when we're talking about multiplying integers, and you're used to seeing like this times symbol just like that, that's more of an elementary thing. But in algebra, so like 9 times 3 would be 27, right? But in algebra, we usually see integers written either with a dot or more commonly with parentheses. So if we're just talking about basic facts again, 8 times 4, that would be 32. Okay, so this is more the elementary way of writing multiplication. This is a little bit more advanced, although not much more. And here's the most algebraic way with the numbers in parentheses. Now, why? Because a lot of times in algebra, you'll have positive and negative numbers. So if you see two parentheses touching next to one another or a dot, that means multiplication. Okay? So just a quick uh, review of some of the symbolization you'll see for multiplication. Now let's talk about our signs. The sign rules are very important. They're the same for multiplication and division. So if you know the sign rules for multiplication, you'll also know the sign rules for division. Okay? But a positive number times another positive number, that's positive. That makes sense. That's the uh, multiplication you've been doing since you were, maybe in third grade. But also a negative times another negative, that's also positive. Okay? So what I like to remember with multiplication is if your numbers have the same sign, with multiplication only, if your numbers have the same sign that you're multiplying together, that's going to be a positive answer. Okay? But finally, with your last rule that we have for multiplication, if you have a positive times a negative, or a negative times a positive, doesn't matter the order because multiplication is a commutative operation, that's going to be a negative number. So if your numbers have different signs that you're multiplying together, your answer is negative. Okay? So let's look at some examples of that. Let's say we have negative 7 times a positive 3. Well, 7 times 3 is 21. And negative times a positive, that's going to be negative. So our final answer is negative 21. You always want to double check your signs when you're done. Let's say we have negative 10 times negative 6. Well, 10 times 6 is 60, and a negative times a negative, is positive. So you don't have to write that plus there. But these numbers, again, have the same sign, so our answer is positive at multiplication. Negative 6 times a positive 9. Let me fix that writing there. So negative 6 times a positive 9. That's, well, 9 times 6 is 54, and a negative times a positive is negative. Okay? So a few other small things when it comes to multiplication. Remember, any number times 1 is just that number. So for example, 12 times 1, and one of the numbers could just be in parentheses too, is 12. So any number times 1 is going to be that same number back. Okay, even 1 times 1 would be 1. Let's say I make this a negative 12 and a positive 1, well then our answer would be negative 12, right? And another thing with multiplication, any number times 0 is 0. So for example, 5 times 0 is 0. Or even 0 times 1,000 or a negative 1,000. Okay, it doesn't matter the signs for this one. Any number times 0 is 0. 0 is neither positive nor negative. So thank you very much for your attention. Hopefully you found this lesson helpful. It just takes some practice. Practice